Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Hard Luck by Jeff Kinney. Wednesday. I actually used to look forward to when Mom's family came to town because it was a good way for me to make some cash. One year I was drawing pictures at the kitchen table and Mom told me I should try selling my drawings to the family. It actually worked out great. I'd draw a picture of a horse or a turtle and turn around and sell it to someone in the family for $5. Wow, you are an amazing artist, Gregory. In the weeks leading up to the family, I'd draw as fast as I could, so I had a big stockpile when my relatives arrived. One Thanksgiving, I drew so many pictures that I made $80. In fact, it was so easy to turn my art into cash that I thought that's how it was gonna be for the rest of my life. That'll be 110 and 83 cents, sir. I believe this should cover it. But once I got a little older, the same relatives who were snapping up my drawings then when I was little weren't as quick to pull out their wallets. And I'm still not sure if it's because I went back to the same people too many times or because I doubled my prices. Sorry, I forgot to bring my wallet with me this year. When Manny started selling his drawings, all of a sudden my relatives were like a human ATM machine. Let me just say this, when I draw a picture, I put a lot of time and effort into it. But Manny scribbles out 15 drawings in a minute, and don't even ask me what half of them are supposed to be. This all just goes to show that some people have no taste when it comes to art. Thursday. We're having Easter at Grandma's house again this year, which kind of stinks because Grandma's house isn't very kid-friendly. The only thing she has that's even close to a toy over there is a stuffed elephant called Ellie. Grandma bought Ellie as a chew toy for our old dog Sweetie, who lives with her now. But Sweetie tore off Ellie's trunk, ears, legs on the first day he had it. So now you can't even tell it's supposed to be an elephant. If you're a kid, that's all you've got for entertainment at Grandma's house. And there's only so much fun you can have with a stuffed bowling pin. It wouldn't be so boring at Grandma's if Sweetie could still play like he used to. But Grandma has fed him so much dog food and table scraps that at this point, he's basically a beach ball with legs. Every once in a while, we have dinner over at Grandma's. We try and have a little fun with Sweetie anyway. One night, we found out that if you sneak up behind him when he's sleeping and make a raspberry sound with your lips, his ears will perk up. Then, Sweetie sniffs his rear end for the next 5 minutes and goes back to sleep. Hee hee hee. Me and Roderick do that over and over, and Sweetie has the exact same reaction every single time. But one night when Dad gave it a try, it totally backfired. Blarp. Even though Grandma's house is pretty boring, Easter actually used to be pretty fun. When great Granny Mima was still alive, we always have a big Easter egg hunt at Grandma's. Mima was Grandma's mom. No disrespect to Mima or anything, but if I ever have grandkids, I'm not gonna be the one who chooses what they call me, not them. And I'm going to go with something basic like Grandpa or Granddad because I don't want to end up getting stuck with some goofy nickname for the rest of my life. Happy birthday, Poopsie! Bah! I'm sure my great-grandfather wishes he could change his name, but he's about 93 years old, so there's really no point now. Would you like me to mush up your carrots for you, Peepaw? Eh? Anyway, Mima was in charge of putting prizes in the plastic egg for the Easter egg hunt. She'd stuff them with things like candy and change, but every so often, she'd drop in a $5 bill. Then she'd hide eggs inside Grandma's house and in her backyard. After Easter brunch, all of us kids would go to Grandma's backyard and get ready to fill up our baskets with as many eggs as we could find. Mima used to overdo it with eggs though, and hide way more than she needed to. In fact, I'll bet you could go in Grandma's backyard right now and still find enough to fill out a basket. Sometimes I'll find an egg at Grandma's in a cabinet or stuck between the couch cushions. A few weeks ago, Grandma's toilet wasn't working, and Dad found a pink plastic egg in the water tank. That had probably been bobbing around in there for years. When Mima got older, she wasn't as sharp as she used to be, and she started putting strange things in the plastic eggs for prizes. One year, I found a green bean, a bottle cap, and a paper clip in my eggs. That was the same year Manny found dental floss in one of his. And I can tell you from experience that a used tissue sounds exactly the same as a $5 bill when it's inside a bag. Shake, shake. The last Easter egg hunt we had was the year Mima passed away. At her funeral, Mom realized Mima wasn't really wearing her diamond ring. Everybody was all in a panic because that diamond ring had been in the family for 3 generations, and apparently it was worth a lot of money. After the funeral, the family went to the rest home where Mima and Peepa lived and turned the place upside down, but couldn't find the ring anywhere. Shake, shake. It got pretty ugly after that. Great Aunt Beatrice accused her sister, Great Aunt Martha, of pocketing the ring for herself. Then Aunt Gretchen said Mima promised her the ring if anybody found it. They needed to hand it over. And before you knew it, the whole family was at each other's throats. So that's how things ended up the last time we all got together. And it's probably the reason we haven't been in one place since. I think the whole ring situation really shook Mom up. She said she hopes no one finds Mima's ring because if someone does, it could break up the whole family. But if that means no more visits from Aunt Gretchen and her kids, I have to say, I'm all for it. Rah! Shriek! Flash. When it comes to holidays, I'm more of a Christmas guy than an Easter guy. On Christmas, the second you get home from church, you can just totally unwind. But on Easter, you have to stay in your church clothes for the whole day, or at least you do in my family. Today, we went from church to Grandma's house, and my tie was already starting to drive me crazy. I was nervous. Everyone was just gonna pick right back up where they left off after Mima's funeral. But when we got to Grandma's, everyone seemed to move past it. I've never been that comfortable walking into a room full of relatives. I know I see these people once or twice a year, but there are so many of them I can't even remember everyone's names. They all seem to remember everything about me though. So, how did you end up going on that state capitals test? I always try to get past the crowd in front of the hallway as quickly as possible. and find a place where there aren't as many people. Manny's strategy is to pretend he doesn't speak whenever he's at family gatherings. I admit, I'm a little jealous and wish I had come up with that idea a long time ago. So, what have you got there, little fella? Poke. I didn't think many people would show up after the whole diamond ring blow up, but it actually seemed more crowded this year. On top of the aunts and uncles who usually come to these things, a bunch of mom's cousins were there too. Her cousin Gerald from California made the trip. Apparently, he lived with my family for a few months right after I was born. But I wish he didn't have to remind me every time he sees me. I used to change your diapers. Mom's cousin Martina was there too, and she hasn't been to a family gathering since she struck it rich in Las Vegas. The way I heard it, one morning Martina was at the hotel breakfast buffet when she noticed another room with more food in it. But when she made a beeline for the other room, she found out there was no other room. It was actually a full-length mirror reflecting the room she was already in. Martina broke her collarbone and sued the hotel, so I'm pretty sure the Porsche parked in Grandma's driveway was hers. Uncle Larry was at Grandma's too. I don't think he's actually related to anyone, but someone invited him to a family event at some point, and he's been showing up ever since. Guess who's here? Uncle Larry. Uncle Larry's a great guy and all, but he's always parks himself in the best seat in Grandma's family room and doesn't move until it's time to leave. Would you be a pal and get your Uncle Larry a refill on pretzels? Grandma's two sisters both came this year, even though they can't stand each other. Every Christmas they exchange presents, but I think the only reason they do it is to see who can come up with the most insulting gift. 5 ketchup packets. Used bar of deodorant. On Easter at Grandma's house, you basically got 3 choices of how to occupy yourself. You can sit in the family room and watch golf on TV with the men, go in the kitchen and talk with the women, or hang out in the basement with all the kids. None of these options really work for me, so I just always lock myself in the bathroom until it's time to eat. Knock, knock, knock. Occupied. The main event at Easter is brunch. The whole family used to sit at one long table in the dining room, but now the family's bigger. It's split between grown-ups and kids. The grown-ups table is in the dining room, and the kids table is in the kitchen. I'm kind of glad we changed things up, because when we all used to sit together, I'd always end up next to someone who was way more interested in my life than I was. Tell me everything you've learned in social studies this year. Plus, when we all sat together, Mom would make me eat food I didn't like. She would always want me to try her potato salad, which I may be willing to do if it wasn't served in the same bowl she uses when one of us kids have a flu. If you need to throw up here, do it in here. I don't like eating in Grandma's dining room anyway because it's way too formal. And I think it makes everyone act serious too. A few years ago, Peepa had a green bean hanging from his lip for most of brunch. That was funny enough on its own, but when it fell in his glass of water, I had to laugh. Ha ha! I thought everybody else would laugh too, but nobody did. Dad shot me a look, and I got the feeling I should just keep my hand and go back to eating. Ever since then, whenever something funny happens in the dining room, I do everything I can to stop myself from laughing. I'll pinch my inner thigh or bite my lip real hard. But sometimes even that's not enough. One year, when Grandpa went to blow out the candles on his birthday cake, his dentures came flying out. I strained so hard to keep myself from laughing that I thought I might burst a blood vessel or blow an eyeball or something. Plus, I had just taken a big sip of chocolate milk and I was trying not to let it dribble onto my plate. I tried to think of something really sad, but all I could think up was Sweetie in his little sweater. Then one thought led to another, and it was just too much for me to take. Bleh. In fact, now that I think of it, that incident is probably what led us to kids having our own table in the kitchen. I'm not sure how they figured out who qualifies as a kid and who's an adult because Uncle Cecil sits at the grown-up table, and I know it might sound like Uncle Cecil is grown-up, but he's only 3 or 4 years old. Great Aunt Marcy adopted him a few years ago, and somehow I guess that makes him my uncle. It does make things pretty awkward sometimes. Greg, can you hand me one of Uncle Cecil's swimming diapers? I think the rule should be that if you need a booster seat, you're automatically disqualified from sitting at the grown-ups table. But Uncle Cecil sits in the dining room with the adults, and Roderick has to sit at the kids' table, even though he's practically a grown man. Today, I made sure to sit as far away as I could from Malvin and Malcolm. But that second, I ended up sitting next to my second cousin, Georgia, who has a front tooth that's so loose it's hanging by a thread. Georgia. Her tooth was like that last time we saw her. So we're taking years now. Everyone in the family tries to convince her to let them pull it out, but she's stalling for forever. I'm still thinking about it. When my front tooth was loose, I was terrified of letting someone pull it. Mom spent weeks trying to convince me to let her yank it out, but I was too scared. Eventually, she said if the tooth fell out in my sleep, I'd swallow it, and that was really dangerous. But I knew that wasn't true, because the week before Manny had swallowed one of my toy cars, and he lived. Found it. After a while, I guess Dad got fed up with my loose tooth and decided to take matters into his own hands. He told me he wanted to show me a magic trick, and he tied a string to my front tooth and the other end to a doorknob. I didn't see what was coming until it was too late. Ready to see the trick? Yeah! After watching Georgia twirl her tooth in a circle with her tongue for 45 minutes, I went into the family room because I knew that's where Grandma keeps her string. When I walked in, I was surprised to find that half the grown-ups were already in there going through Grandma's photo albums. From what I could piece together, Aunt Audra's psychic told her that Mima's diamond ring was in a family photo album. And when the rest of the grown-ups heard that, they got all excited. Shake, 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 shake. When someone suggested that maybe the psychic didn't mean the ring was literally in a photo album, so everyone started looking through the pictures to see if there were any clues. A minute later, something caught Uncle Larry's eyes. Uncle Larry was pointing at photos from the last Easter we all got together. In one picture, Mima was wearing her diamond ring, and in the next, she wasn't. Preparing for the Easter egg hunt, Mima's famous applesauce. It didn't take a genius to figure out where her ring went. 15 seconds later, everyone was fanned out across Grandma's backyard, searching for Mima's plastic eggs. I guess everyone figured out that if the ring was in an egg, then it was finders keepers. Mom tried to get everyone to come back inside to have dessert, but it was no use. It was a little disturbing to see how greedy my relatives were acting, but I admit I got a little caught up in the excitement myself while everyone else was looking for the outside, I was looking for it inside. But after Mom caught me rifling through Grandma's underwear drawer, I realized maybe I was getting a little too carried away. I think Mom was pretty fed up with everyone by that point because she told our family that we were going home. As far as I know, nobody actually found the ring. But when we drove away from Grandma's, a few people were still out searching. Have you looked in that bush? Well, that's it for now. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Thank you.